Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is the Arsenal Women's Show. No, it's not Friday. We've had to readjust our schedule this week, and it'll be a few weeks as well. But we are here tonight, and we have got a lot of great stuff coming up for you. There was, of course, a victory at Leicester at the weekend, so we're going to look back on that. There was a very important debut, impressive debut as well. So we're going to look at that as well. A young player signed a new professional contract at the club. That's great news as well. So we're going to have a look at that. Plus, there's two big games in the next week or so, isn't there? Everton visit the Emirates at the weekend, and then we are over in Germany for the start of the Champions League group stage. Bayern Munich are our opponent. So loads and loads of great stuff to come tonight. And we've also got a very special guest on as well. So looking forward to this. It's going to be a great show. So come and join us the other side of this. Of course, we've got Lord Andreas with us. It wouldn't be a show without Lord Andreas, would it? You okay this week, my friend?
Yeah, not bad at all. Good evening, everybody, and I'm glad to be here. Busy schedule for our team, and I'm glad to be a part of this and discuss all the topics. Yeah.
And not only have we got Lord Andreas with us, we've got a lady as well. Lady Ange is with us. How are you?
Hello, thank you and welcome. Yes, getting over the dreaded lurgy that seems to have hit the UK. Very strange next, but yeah, getting there.
Good stuff. Good to see. Of course, you have been a regular in the chat box over the last few weeks as well. So it's good to finally get you on the show. I know you've obviously done a lot of stuff on the Arsenal women as well, haven't you? Which is good. We've got Terry in the chat already. He says, "Evening, Richard. Can't wait to see who's coming in tonight." Well, there you go. You found out already. He says, "Is it Ammo with a new watch?" And Joe's been on his show to tell Crown and Cape if it's 29. It's not going to be 29, is it? He's not coming in. Greg says, "Evening, Terry, all in the chat. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you." Terry says, "Evening, all in the chat. Hit the like button on your way in. It stops you forgetting." It does indeed. It stops you forgetting. Do it nice and early indeed is what you have to do. Greg says, "Had some bad news and was on the phone to my sister all night." Oh dear, hope you're okay, mate. Hope everything is okay. And Terry saying, "Hooray, it's Angie." Indeed it is. Good stuff. Terry's happy, which is good to see. It's good to see. Now, of course, only one place we can really start. That's going back, of course, to the weekend, and what turned out to be not quite as comfortable a victory as we anticipated, but we did get the 3 points. Now, of course, regulars on the show will know that I spent last season basically praising Stina Blackstenius pretty much every week. And we've got a new star now, someone else who's going to probably take over and going to get the praise every week. And it's a new goalkeeper, Daphne van Domselaar, of course, who I've been wanting us to sign for over 2 years. She's finally here. She finally made her debut. Wow, what an impressive performance. I mean, Andreas, we wouldn't have won that game without Daphne in goal, would we? I don't think.
Absolutely, I agree. She was player of the match, and it's great that she had such a good debut and she could show her potential. Of course, Jonas said in the press conference after the match that she has to learn things, and she's still developing. Yes, of course, but the way she played in her debut was really impressive, and as you said, I'm totally convinced that without Daphne we wouldn't have taken 3 points. She was outstanding, fantastic saves, but not only the saves that of course saved the 1-0, the way she played, her confidence she showed, how good she was with the ball on her feet, and everything. The whole display was just outstanding. And I wrote it in the Facebook group. Now, finally, we have a world-class goalkeeper, and now we must play her week in, week out, as often as possible. I hope so.
Yeah, I think it'd be impossible to leave her out of the team after that performance. I mean, I don't think Manu Zinsberg has had a bad start to the season. Actually, she's played quite well, but that performance from Daphne was just different level. And I don't think we keep the clean sheet with Manu in goal. I just don't. That one that she pushed onto the bar, there's no way Manu gets near that one. I'm sorry, there isn't. And, you know, a couple in the second half were great as well. I mean, Ange, what a great debut that was. Of all the debuts we've seen in recent years, that's got to be the best of the lot, hasn't it?
Well, do you know what? We were all waiting for her, and it was a slight surprise. Yeah, it was. I love goalkeepers. I really do. She looked confident, and that's what you want to see, a confident goalkeeper. And to me, she did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong at all. Yeah, and and I've seen it played back now, and I thought I like that. And can I just say, I really want to put this out. I love the passion in goalkeepers because I've grown up having to think about goalkeepers from other than the Arsenal. I hasten to add, sorry, fact, more so for the men. But yeah, I love Manu. Her personality is second to none. But and I'm not a religious person, but there's times where I actually want to pray. Sorry, I know that sounds awful. I love her, but there's a but. Yeah, whereas with Daph, I thought, and I, like yourself, I was very much rooting for Daph. She's young, she's tenacious. Yeah, this is the way forward at Arsenal.
I hope so. I mean, looking at that performance, I can't see how she can get left out. I think that would be a backward step now. You know, and I know it's tough. I mean, I agree. Manu is a great personality. You could see the way she ran on the pitch at the end to give Daphne a hug and stuff like that, congratulate her. And that's great to see. And Manu's a great character and we love her. But as a goalkeeper, we've now got a better goalkeeper, haven't we? And I think that we saw last season how many points that could have saved us this season with Daphne. She's already just won us at least 3 points on that performance on Sunday. And if that's a sign of things to come, she's got to stay in goal, surely. We've got Chelsea coming up soon. She's got to play, surely she's got to.
Sorry, Rich, can I just say, I mean, we all watched the hype. We saw her being introduced to the Arsenal. Manu's time is going to come to an end soon. We know this because she's now a family woman. She's got a child. It may be January. It may be further down the line. But, I mean, Daph's going to become our number one, isn't she? Without doubt. She wouldn't have come to us otherwise.
No, absolutely. Yeah, she's come to be number one. And after that performance, she deserves to be number one. I mean, it wasn't, obviously Daphne took all the headlines for a fantastic performance. I mean, the performance overall, I mean, Andreas, what did you make of how we played? Because we made very, very hard. I mean, Leicester played well. They defended really well. But we made really hard work of that, didn't we? You know, even getting that goal early in the second half, I thought we would relax and go on and get 2 or 3, but we didn't, did we? We kind of never really got going, did we?
Well, this is one of those, we call it dirty wins. You have to win these matches, these tough matches. These are 3 points that count in the end. And when you look back to the last seasons, Chelsea won a lot of these dirty matches, 1-0, when they were not the better team, but they grabbed the 3 points and we didn't. So this is very, very important. And of course, we are in start of the season, but in the middle of a very busy schedule with Champions League mini tournament, then the Champions League playoffs, the first WSL match against Man City. The players were tired. You saw that there were really tired legs, and it's difficult in such a match when you know the Champions League's coming and nobody wants to risk injuries, and normally we should rest more players, but we were unlucky with the injury of Laura Wienreuter. Therefore Emily Fox had to play. She needed a rest, and Jonas subbed Katie McCabe, and he said she was really tired. I think everybody was afraid when Katie was up. But I thought, oh no, not another injury. But fortunately, it's only tiredness and no injury. But this shows when players like Katie McCabe have to be subbed off. This shows how intense all these weeks were. And of course, expecting a firework and 4-5-0 would have been nice. But in the end, of course, goal difference. But in the end, the 1-0 gives us 3 points as a 5-0 would have given us 3 points. So in the end, I was satisfied that we won this match. And when you look at the statistics, I checked them before our show. It's we had 65% ball possession, but duels won only 38%. And yeah, and the corners, of course, this is a point. We had 12 corners and we made nothing out of this. We are still weak in set pieces. I know we changed the set pieces coach, but 12 corners and none of them brought real danger. Our attacking line was I don't know if you say this in English, we say in German, was hanging in the air. There was no creativity from midfield, no passes. The chance for Leah and the goal was hard work from Alessia, who not in the box. She's not as a number 9. She created these chances, but when she played more back and she tried to bring something to the team to solve the problem of no creativity. Some things didn't went to the best, and the idea of playing Caitlin Ford as a left back, some strange decisions, some strange things, but overall the team was tired. You could see this, and they brought home the 3 points. So that's the best. That's the best this match gave us, and not with the performance, but with the result, I'm satisfied.
Yeah, at the end of the season, if we ended up winning the league, no one's going to remember how poor we were. We're going to remember that we got the 3 points, and those 3 points helped us where we needed to be. So yeah, I mean, ultimately, that is what matters. You're right. And I say this every week. I'll take a 1-0 win against everybody, because if you win all your matches 1-0, you're probably going to do quite well, aren't you? Let's be honest. But it's not always going to happen like that, I know. But Greg makes a good point there. He says the short corners were a disappointment. Yeah, the short corners were just getting on my nerves, because we did 1, 2, 3, 4, and none of them worked. It's like, you need to have variations, don't you? Do a couple of short corners, a couple of normal corners, then do a short corner, throw it in, mix it up a bit. We just did the same thing constantly, and never got anywhere with it. And is it because we have got a new set piece coach, and it's going to take a little while for their ideas to come off, like it did with the men's team? We got Nikola Jovic in. It took him a little while to actually work on that and get it to work properly. So maybe it's the same. Maybe throughout the season we'll see improvements in that area. Let's hope so, because we've been really poor in every game from set pieces. It's been terrible. So it can only get better, I suppose. But of course, it wasn't all doom and gloom. There was some positives. Obviously, Daphne, as we mentioned. I mean, and Frida Marnham at the moment is getting goals every week. How important is she again now to the team?
Oh my goodness! And I think, sorry, I just want to ask you, Rich, was you at the Conti Cup?
Yes.
Oh, right. Yeah, so was I. And of course, we lived that experience of when she passed out, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And we were obviously very concerned. And I'm sorry, blow the football. It was about her health. Yeah, but she's been an amazing player for us. And to see her get back on form now, I'm very excited. An amazing player.
She is an amazing player, yeah. And you're right. I mean, last season, she would admit it, and I think Jonas has said it himself, she wasn't maybe at her best last season, but she's firing this. I mean, she's been brilliant every game this season she's played. And again, she was the difference maker. Okay, Leslie made the goal with her hard work, closing down, winning the ball. Yeah. But Frida makes those runs constantly into the box, doesn't she? She's always gets herself in those positions. That's why she scores as many goals as she does, because she's always there, isn't she, to put those chances away. The winning goal against the Rosenborg, wasn't it? A goal against Hacken, a goal against Man City, and now another goal, a winning goal against Leicester. I mean, fantastic, isn't she? And you're right. We was at that cup final. Andreas was there as well, and to see her go through what she went through on the pitch on that particular occasion was horrible, wasn't it? So the fact that she's now fine, she's playing, and clearly whatever issue that was she had is in the past. And I think that I was just grateful to see her playing football again to begin with. So to see her playing like this, it's incredible, isn't it? We've got a few comments actually. Where are we? Terry says we ain't got to worry about Salty FC this season. As long as we stop playing our terrible, no one can stop us. Well, we need to get going, don't we? A little bit. Shades of Us says remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. Exactly. Yeah, that's what we always say, don't we? Terry says you haven't got nothing to worry about now, Greg, because we've got Ange to look after us. Exactly. We've got no problem anymore, so it's all fine.
I've got no tactics, but I'm always optimistic.
Well, exactly, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? We've got 170 Gunner says, "Did you watch Lee Gunner's epic Saka out rant?" No, I didn't. I don't watch him at all. But
oh my God, sorry, what is that all about? What is it about with these so-called seriously?
I don't know. I mean, it's madness. I mean, if that's what actually he's done, that is madness, isn't it? I mean, you know, of all the players that you could pick on in the Arsenal,
seriously,
Saka would be the last one, wouldn't he? Let's be honest. There's probably 10 other players you'd get rid of before you'd even think about getting rid of Saka. But anyway, some people, I don't know what goes on in their mind, but ultimately, though, we got the 3 points, and it's one of them games that, as you said, Andreas, that Chelsea tend to win a lot of in a season, don't they? They scrape by. They had one against Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? 1-0. They were hanging on a bit, and it wasn't their greatest performance, and they got the 3 points, and it's a good habit to have. Yes, I think we all know we're going to have to play better in some of the upcoming games that we've got if we're going to get the 3 points again, but each game's different, isn't it? The opposition's different, and I thought Leicester, I think we have to give them credit because they were very, very well organised. They worked extremely hard. They made it tough for us, and they had 2 or 3 big chances of their own. They could have snatched something from that game. So I think we have to sometimes take into account the opposition as well. It's not just about how we play. We can only control how we play, but sometimes you've got to look at the opposition and say, you know what, they just had a really good game, and we were slightly off our game, and that can be the difference. There's not a lot to choose between most teams in this league now, really, when you look at how much the gap's closed. If one team's slightly off, the other team's on their game, you can get some shock results, and we didn't luckily get
Rich. Sorry, Rich, I just want to interrupt there, but also they were at home, and they need to try and get up next. I did actually. I'm not one for the bloody stats. The stats. I'm really not. Where did I write it down?
We love some stats. If you've got some stats, that'd be great because we love some good stats.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, the Foxes have lost all 7 of their WSL games against Jonas' side by an aggregate of score of 24-2.
Yeah, and those 2 goals came in that game last season, didn't they? When we were 2-0 down.
But they were at home. They were up for it. Sorry, I'm really not technical, but they're at home, they're up for it. And it was interesting, you was in the chat and you said about Fox, and she got slightly outclassed. All right, a lot of it was tiredness because we know she is a sensational player, but she got slightly outclassed. But listen, we won, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. Now it doesn't matter. Looking back on it, we can look back on it and say, so what, we got through, we got the 3 points. Brilliant. And that's what matters, isn't it? Greg says Leicester played well against Liverpool to get a draw. Yeah, they did. And, you know, they look as though they've got a new manager in this season. They look as though they've got something a bit more about them than maybe they've had previously. And I don't think anybody's going to find it easy going there against them this season. And they could easily take points off some of the other top teams as well and do us a favour, get a draw. They could easily get a draw with Chelsea or Man City or Man United at their ground. So let's be grateful that we cut. I know there was a lot of comments in the game the other day, and they were saying they're disappointed it was only 1-0. We should be beating. Let Chelsea be beating Leicester 5-0 by now. I don't think not this Leicester team. This is a different Leicester team to what we've seen in the previous couple of years, and that could end up being a really good result at the end of the season when you look at it. You know, last season you remember we lost to Liverpool, didn't we? And everyone was saying, "How can you lose to Liverpool?" Liverpool finished 4th in the league in the end. You know, it wasn't the disastrous result that it looked like at the time. And I think this 1-0 win at Leicester at the end of the season might look back on that and think, you know what, that was a really big victory for us at the time, our first win of the season coming at the way that it did. So let's just look at it on the positive side. We won the game. We can play better. We will play better. We know we will. And just put that to bed and say, you know what, we did what we needed to do. And, you know, everybody played their part in one way or another to get the result. And we didn't play well, but sometimes you don't always have to play well. Yeah, Terry says, to be fair, Leicester have improved, but we should have made it a lot more comfortable. But that's Arsenal goals for you. Well, I mean, you say that, but it wasn't like we had lots and lots of chances. Last season, we had games where we would have 10, 12, 15 big chances and score 1 goal or no goals. that wasn't the case against Leicester. You know, we scored one of the only real chances that we had when you look back on the game. We didn't have lots of chances, did we? We could have maybe added a second goal, which would have made it a little bit more comfortable. But it wasn't like we had chance after chance after chance. If anything, Leicester in the second half in particular had more clear chances than we did in the end. So, you know, I think we have to just accept that and say, okay, fair enough. Greg says the only easy games this year will be against West Ham, Palace and Everton. Well, we'll find out about Everton very soon.
Yeah.
So let's not get too excited about saying about that. Yeah. I mean, they're the three worst teams, you would say, looking at the league, but each game's different, isn't it? And I don't think anybody gives. I mean, we lost to West Ham last year and they were terrible. They nearly got relegated. So, you know, I don't think you can say there's easy games ever. We have to turn up, play our game, and if we play well, we won't have any problems against most teams. But if we're slightly off it, we could have problems against anyone, as we've seen. But luckily, on this particular occasion, we got through. We got the 3 points, and we just have to say, yeah, brilliant. Let's move forward and build on it now, because you know I think we've had a tough start. Andrea said that earlier about the number of games that we've had with the Champions League qualifiers, intense games very early in the season. We've now had Manchester City, a very tough game in between those two Hacken matches, which were tough. Now we've had Leicester away, which was tough as well, and now we've got even more big games coming up over the next few weeks as well. It's a mad time, and it's a time where the squad's going to be tested. But all we can do is win the game that's next up on the list, and that's what we did on a Sunday. That's what we've got to do again this week, and keep going. Now, of course, there was some good news as well this week. There was no midweek match as such, but there was some really good news for a very exciting young player. Now, of course, we love academy players coming into the first team and establishing themselves. You know, obviously the men's team have had a history of it. And obviously currently the women's team, we've got Leah Williamson, Lotte Rubenmoy, and now we've got Katie Reid. And I have to say, from what I've seen of her playing in the pre-season games that she played, the tour in America and stuff, she looks like she's basically learned so much from Leah, the way that she plays the game, the way she reads the game. She's so comfortable on the ball. And I really think we've got a real gem of a player here. And, you know, we sometimes don't, you know, when we maybe thinking, oh, you know, we need to buy a player. Sometimes you don't need to buy a player. Sometimes you've got a player there already that you've developed yourself. And I think Katie Reid, you know, I'm glad she hasn't gone out on loan. I think she's going to get minutes in the team because of the number of games that we've got. And I think that this contract for her on her birthday as well, she signed it. Fantastic, wasn't it? I mean, Andreas, I think we're all excited about what Katie Reid can do in this team, because she looks such a great player already, doesn't she, at such a young age?
Yeah, I was very, very happy when I read that she signed her first professional contract this week. And the way she played in Australia when at the end of last season, and then in the US on this US tour, brilliant and so full of confidence. And it was as if she played so many matches before, and as she belongs there. And I read a lot. Leah said. Katie Reid is probably the shyest person she ever met. She's humble. She wants to learn. And when you hear what she said after signing the contract, she said players like Leah or Lotte, they paved the way, and they showed all the academy girls and academy players that it is possible. You can make your way through the academy into the first team. And she's the best proof for this. I think if she stays free of injuries and her development continues the way it did in the last month, then she surely will be our next Lioness. She has a great career in front of her, and the way her personality is, she's shy and humble, etc. This will help her to establish her in this team, because she wants to learn. You saw it in her matches in the US. She learns from one match to the next, and who better to learn from Leah and Lotte, who made their way through the academy. it's just fantastic. And she's very tall. That's good for a center back. And just 18 years young. And I hope that she will get minutes. I was glad that we didn't send her out on loan because I think she's ready to play in the WSL. And I hope she will get minutes. Maybe on Sunday against Everton. This would be a chance for her to play. Maybe against this Norwegian team we have in Champions League. She needs the minutes. Of course, Leah, Lotta, Cody, and maybe if she returns, Amanda are still more experienced. They have the international experience. But she's 18. She has to learn, of course. But her skills so far and her personality, I can only say it again. I'm sure she has a future in the WSL and hopefully at the Arsenal. It would be great to have another academy player to be a regular in our squad. Great future ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, she does appear to be very shy, doesn't she? You know, in front of the camera, she's not natural, and and she always looks like she's embarrassed about everything. But yet, when she's on the pitch, that seems to disappear, and she looks confident. She looks assured. She looks as though, like you said, she's ready to play. Not only in the WSL, but even in the Champions League games, I think she's ready. But you're only really going to find out if she's ready by her playing. And see, I mean, I know she came on very briefly against Leicester at the end when we had players having to go off right, left, and centre. But I do think she's going to get a lot of opportunities this season with the number of games that we've got, and also as well, we are maybe one player with Amanda not being available. We are one player short in that position as well in the squad. So I think that now, I think she's going to be ready to come in and do a job when she has to. And I'm excited to see her play because, I mean, she caught me by surprise in the games that she's played, how good she is. I couldn't believe how brilliant she was. And I'm thinking, wow, when she was 17, obviously, and you look at her and think, what an incredible talent she is. The way that she's just a natural, the way she reads the game. And that's not something you can even really teach a player, I don't think. You've either got it there or you haven't. And she's clearly got it. And, I just think working with the first team, working with Leah on a daily basis in training, and Lotta and Leia and all the other players that she's working with, she's going to learn so much as well. So, I'm really glad she didn't go on loan. She's better off being here with those players to guide her. And you can see Jonas has got trust in her. And he is going to give her time on that pitch. I'm sure he is. I mean, Ange, it's great, isn't it, when you see an academy player like that making their mark? Maybe not enough. Maybe there's not enough academy players have come into the first team at Arsenal in recent years in the women. So it's really nice to see that she looks as though she's going to have a great future, doesn't she?
Well, do you know what? Sorry, back to Jonas, and a bit like Arteta, people have very strong opinions, but he has given so much to the youngsters, hasn't he? Where possible.
Well,
he really has.
Now he is. He is now.
All right. People won't know it before that next. But no, he is now. And most importantly, with Katie, you can see she's a really good young talent. Yeah, she needs to be nurtured. I don't want to see her go out and learn where she can get her chances. Go for it.
Exactly, and I think she will get her chances, and I think she won't let us down either. Sometimes, but particularly as a defender, I think as a young player, you'd be a little bit worried and think, is this young player going to? Young players tend to make mistakes. It's just the natural thing that they do, and you tend to think, do you want a young player in such a key position? But with Katie, I don't feel that way at all. I'd be really confident with her playing, in a sense, and Lotta's a great player. She still has those lapses in concentration. We saw it against Hacken last week, and she still has those moments. So it's almost like I would almost feel slightly less worried with Katie playing because she doesn't. I know she's not played enough games yet. Maybe she'll have some lapses of concentration as well, but she seems to be a lot more switched on when she's playing, I think, and she looks so. But anyway, I hope she's going to get a chance, and it is great, isn't it, that she's got this contract, and she looks like she's got a great future. And I think that's so important, isn't it? And Greg says it was good to see Leah at Katie's signing. Of course, yeah. I mean, Leah is a mentor, really, isn't she? Let's be honest. That's who she is. You can tell the way she plays, the way she is on the pitch, almost the way she runs with the ball. It's almost a spitting image of Leah, isn't it? So you can see how much of a mentor Leah's been to her. And I think that, if she continues to follow that path, I mean, what a perfect role model to have. Leah Williamson, England captain, lifted a Euros trophy for England. Do you know what I mean? One of the greatest players that Arsenal have produced ever in a women's game. So, brilliant that she's obviously really supportive of Katie as well, and I think that's going to really help her as well. Terry says she's a Gabrielle, big and strong, and isn't frightened to get stuck in. Very calm on the ball as well. Yeah, that is one thing that stood out for me was how calm she was with the ball, and that's a very Leah Williamson kind of trait, isn't it? Leah Williams never panics, does she? She never gets the ball and just boots it anywhere. She gets the ball, and even if she's under pressure, she'll still be calm. She'll pick her pass. She'll make the right decisions. And Katie looks like that's her game as well. So yeah, brilliant. And let's hope that we don't build her up too much, and it turns out that it doesn't quite work for her. But as what I've seen so far, I'm so impressed. I'm so happy that she signed. Greg says all the academy players look promising in pre-season. Yeah, they did, absolutely. And I know pre-season is different, and you can't always judge a player on pre-season because it isn't the same competitive edge that you get when you get into the WSL and the Champions League. But they've got to get a chance somewhere, and you've got to play them. And obviously, Katie's had her chance, and she was our best player in pre-season. I don't think there's any doubt about that. She played the most minutes. She was our best player in those games. So, of course, she deserves this contract, and of course, she's ready to play. We just need to make sure that she does. Terry says, Andrew will sort out Reed's shyness.
Yeah, maybe sort her out.
We need to get her around on the show so Ange can sort her out.
Sort her out. Nah, she's fine. She's fine.
Yeah, she'll be great. Russ says, evening, everyone. How you doing, Russ? Good to see you. I hope you are doing well.
Terry says,
play Katie Reed in centre midfield. Well, I don't know about that yet. Let's get her in the back four first, and let's get her settled in there because that's her natural position, isn't it? And let's get her in there first. Dirk says there, Van Domselaar. Yes, good. Well, Van Domselaar was brilliant. Absolutely, we talked about her before. Brilliant. I mean, I'm so excited that we've got her, and what a debut she had. But yeah, so it's great that we've got another young player coming through, signing a pro contract, and let's just hope that she's going to keep developing the way that she has already because, wow, I'm so excited for her. And it's great. It was great to see, wasn't it? Now, of course, we were talking before, we've had a busy schedule, and the busy schedule isn't about to get any less busy because we've got a really big week coming up now with two really big games starting, of course, on Sunday at the Emirates, where, of course, this is the reason why one of the reasons why we're doing the show tonight, because Andreas will be flying over to London on Friday for this big game on Sunday. Now, of course, I just hope that Greg hasn't jinxed it now by saying that Everton was going to be one of the easy games that we'd have this season, because traditionally, when we played them at home, yes, usually it's at Meadow Park, we've tended to beat them, but it's never been easy generally, has it? Last season, was it 1-0? I think it was 1-0 the season before. I remember that goal that Frida Marnham got from about 25 yards against them a couple of seasons ago. It's generally a difficult game. We never seem to beat them 5 and 6-0, do we? So I don't necessarily think it will be an easy game. They've had a tough start to the season. And from I saw they were playing Newcastle tonight in the Continental Cup. They were losing. I don't know if they still are. But yeah, obviously it's at the Emirates where we've got such a great record over the last year. There's going to be a decent sized crowd. It won't be a sellout, of course, but it's going to be a good crowd. And we've got this momentum now, haven't we? Because we've got through the Champions League, which we needed to. We've got our first victory of the season in the league. We had a decent draw against Man City. Everything's kind of in our favour. The only thing that worries me slightly was, as we mentioned before, how tired the team looked at Leicester. We looked really leggy. And, yes, we've had a week off to rest and recover. We've got a squad that we can use. That's my only concern. I mean, Andreas, it is a game that obviously at home at the Emirates, we should win against one of the weaker teams in the league. But as we've seen, football doesn't always work like that, does it? I mean, are you a little bit worried about the fact that we were looking tired last week? And yes, okay, we've got a week off, but it's, they're still training. They're not sitting about doing nothing all week, are they? Do you know what I mean? They're still working hard.
Yeah, but this week of preparing this match is very important, I think. But looking back to last season, I think we won 1-0, and we had a draw away at Everton, 1-1 with this late goal in I think 98th minute or what. So don't underestimate them. And if people say, "Oh, what? That's not a big game," and it's crazy to fly over from Germany to London for a match against Everton. Yeah, maybe it's crazy, but I love this team. I want to support my team, and I want to be there. And if we only have 20,000, I don't expect more in attendance on Sunday. Well, then it's 20,000 at the Emirates. That's just fantastic. I mean, in German Bundesliga, every team would be happy to have 20,000 as an attendance. They have 5,000, 6,000, and they are celebrating, one new record, something like that. So I'm looking forward to this match, and I take every opponent serious and bring them respect. Everton has a lot of injuries. Today I read they only have 18 players in the squad ready to play right now, and in these 18 players there are 2 goalkeepers. They can't rotate much. They're playing today Newcastle, then on Sunday against us. Normally for Everton, Arsenal is an opponent where they say we won't win, and we won't take a point from the Emirates. For us, nothing else than 3 points are counting on Sunday. We must win this, but I'm sure everybody has in mind the match away 3 days later in Munich. So it's difficult for the concentration, and it will be Jonas' task to make clear that only this 90 minutes against Everton are counting on Sunday. Nothing else. Don't look 3 days ahead. No, only Everton. We must win this. And of course, there will be rotation. But we have the better squad. Even if we rotate on 4 or 5 positions, we have the better team. And I'm sure we will win. I hope that we will score, hopefully, 2 goals in the first half. Let's go with 2-0 at halftime. Then we can calm down, make a few subs, and I don't expect a firework of goals or something, 5-0, 6. I think if we win 2-0, I would really be satisfied. No injuries, a little bit of rest for players like Emily, maybe Alessia or Frida, who play. All these players who played a lot of minutes, they need rest. Therefore, let's score early. Let's bring the match to bed for halftime, and then let's rest and bring some subs, and then bring home the 3 points. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to every match, and I want to be there. I want to support my team because I love this team.
Absolutely, and every single game is important. Yes, okay, you could say the games against Chelsea and Man City are bigger games, and they probably are, but every single game is important because every single game there's 3 points up for grabs, and that's how you win league titles, by getting as many of those 3 points as you can. And you can't say, well, that game's not important, this game's not important. They're all important, and it doesn't matter who you're playing. The reward's the same, isn't it? If we beat Chelsea or we beat Everton, we still get 3 points each game. But it doesn't matter who you're playing, does it? The result's the same. So, I totally agree. It doesn't, let's win the game. And, we've got to win the game. You're right. We can't afford to drop points at home to Everton. A league title winning team will not drop points at home to Everton. So we have to win. And yes, again, it doesn't matter if it's 1-0 or if it's 6-0 or 8-0. The only difference, what that means is that if you win by a big scoreline, I suppose everybody gets a bit more confidence. The players who've scored the goals get more confidence. The fans get more confidence about future games. And that's the only real impact, is a confidence point of view. But the only thing that really matters is the points at this stage of the season, at least. People say, well, goal difference could matter. Goal difference might matter. We don't know yet because we've only played 2 games into the season. So at the moment, goal difference doesn't matter. It might matter later on. Well, then later on in the season, we'll have an opportunity, if we need to think, okay, well, this game here, it might be about winning by a few more goals because we may be behind on goal difference. At the moment, it's just winning the games. It's a busy schedule, and we need to just get those 3 points. But we should. I mean, you're saying you'll be satisfied with 2-0, Andreas, and I'm sure we'd all be happy that we've won 2-0. But depending on how we play, if we play to our top level, we should win by more than 2-0, let's be honest, because we're a much better team than them. We're at the Emirates. We play so well at the Emirates on the bigger pitch and this, that, and the other. So, yeah, but let's win the game. First of all, let's get the game won before we think about winning 5, 6, 7-0. Let's get 1-0 up. Let's get 2-0 up. Let's get the game in the bag. And then we can think, okay, now we can relax and now we can score some goals. Like the Hacken game. Took us a while to get going. We got the goals in the end and we won 4-0. Something like that. I can see this game being quite similar in the sense that I think, it might take us a while to get a goal. I think Everton will just get everyone behind the ball, try and make it tough for us for as long as they can. We'll score at some point, you imagine, and then hopefully we can go on and get some goals in the second half. They'll run out of legs, you would have thought, at the Emirates on that big pitch defending, as long as they're going to chasing around trying to get the ball. So we may well get some late goals and it might end up a little bit better than 2-0. But let's see how it pans out. I mean, Ange, you're looking forward to this game because obviously they are all important games and it's a good opportunity, isn't it, to keep this momentum going that we started to build up now?
Well, I'm not going because I'm going to the Chelsea game. So I'll be watching it on I believe it's on the dreaded Barclays.
Is it? Yeah, that was fun last week, wasn't it? That was fun.
Come back, FA play, all's forgiven. Whatever. Yeah. And I do like to. I mean, listen, I can do watch-alongs. I'm loyal to you, my love. But I like to have it on in the background, and especially good when it's on telly. Really not good picture quality, fact. But yeah, I love it on for as long as it works. I listen to you, and I'll tell you now, you're far better commentary. Oh my God, that commentator, he was. I mean, I can't give you tactics of football, but my goodness, he was rubbish. He was flat, totally flat. Next, I'm looking forward to the game, and I'm going to be realistic, like Andreas says. We'd love to do a Chelsea with Crystal Palace. Poor so-and-so's, annihilate them. Probably won't happen. I'm a realist. I get that totally. But you're right. It's just about the 3 points at the moment. And we're at home, win next. Yeah, end of.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we need to win the game, though. And I say that's the only thing that really matters. And I think sometimes, in modern football, there's a lot of analysis goes on and there's a lot of talk, isn't it, about how teams are playing and tactics and all this, that, and the other, right? And it makes for good TV and everything else. It does. But the only thing really that matters is, have you scored more goals than the other team? Have you won the game? Yes, we've won the game.
Yeah.
That's all that matters ultimately. And I don't really care about all that other stuff, Yes, it's nice to see your team play well. You want to enjoy the game. You want to see some good football and you want your team to win. And they're the most important things, aren't they? All this stuff about, all the tactical analysis that they go into and all that stuff, it's really pointless. It's irrelevant. The only thing we care about is the result.
I'll call it out. Sorry, folks. I'll never be invited on here again. I don't actually understand it. I grew up just watching football. Nobody explained it to me. I know you have to get forwards, opposition goal, try and get a goal. Next. I'm really basic. Exactly. But when you see good attacking football, it's enjoyable.
Exactly.
And I think that's what I took away from going to the Man City game. Yeah, we got a draw, but I wasn't disappointed. I enjoyed what I saw.
Yeah.
It was even, wasn't it? Obviously, we want to change that deficit in due course, but it was a good game. Mm-hmm. And that's a bonus. But yeah, most importantly, get the 3 points next. Yeah.
And I think sometimes that almost gets forgotten about nowadays, doesn't it? Enjoying the game of football, watching two teams, go for it, trying to win a game, playing attacking football, having, scoring goals. And that's the reason why we all enjoyed football when we were growing up, why we started watching football, for those moments, really. We didn't watch football because we want to see a left back playing in midfield, or we want to see people talking about a number 6 position or a number 8 position. No, we don't care about it.
I still don't know what it is now, Nick.
It's not, is it? It's nonsense because, a number 6 is a shirt number, and it's always been, when we were growing up, number 6 was a central defender. That's the central defender wore number 6. Tony Adams, for example, number 6, right? A central defender. And now suddenly a number 6 is a midfield player. Well, when did that happen? When did number 6 become a midfield player? It's nonsense. It's total and utterly nonsense, right? You've got defenders, you've got midfield players, and you've got attackers, right? That's what you've got in your team. And the different positions are just, I don't know, it just makes no sense to me. If they're on the left-hand side, that's where they play. If they're on the right-hand side, they're on the right-hand side. If they're in the middle, they're in the middle. You know what I mean? That's all that you care about.
Well, that's pretty basic to me. I can get me around that.
Exactly. And that's what it needs to be. And I think over probably the past 10 years in particular, everything's been overcomplicated. Everybody look at the way that teams play now, playing it out from the back, playing it back to the goalie, playing it to the other centre back, playing it back to the goalie again. It's just overcomplicating everything. The other team close them down and then they panic. It's just, why not make it simple? Get the ball from your goal to the other goal as quickly as you can, and then you've got more chance of scoring a goal. If the ball's in your penalty area, knocking it between your defender and your goalkeeper, you're probably not going to score a goal doing that. Probably not, let's be honest. But if you lump a long ball forward to the other penalty area and get your players in there, there's a chance you might actually score a goal, because that's where it's going to work. So I don't know how this has come about. It's probably Pep's fault, a lot of it. Yes. But ultimately it's ruining football, and we now get coverage of football. And I remember there was an interview with Brian Clough going, I think it was in the early 1980s.
I love Brian. He's my manager.
Yeah, Brian Clough was fantastic. And there was an interview that he had, I think it was with John Motson. And basically what he said was, he says, you don't show enough football. You talk too much and you don't show enough football. And this was in 1981 or something, he said this, right? Or whenever it was, right? And what's happened now is it's gone completely even further that way. Now you get an hour of build-up, you get loads of adverts, you'll get a little bit of football, and then you get another load of 2-hour waffle afterwards. And it's like, no one cares about that, do they, really? People just want to see the game of football. And as Andy said, rightly so, you want to see a nice, good game of football, two teams attacking football, getting you out of your seat, being excited, and then you go home and you think, wow, that, win or lose or draw, you want to go home thinking, wow, what a game of football that was I just witnessed. Obviously, you hope you've won because it makes it even better. But you're right. And now that seems almost irrelevant to most people that watch football. They just want to be over-analysing everything. And it's like, no, it's not. And, football's become like that, hasn't it? Inverted wingers, inverted this, that, and the other. No, just get out there and play football. Don't worry about all that stuff.
Yes.
That's what we want to see. We just want to see goals. That's all we've gone for. We want to see goals, attacking football, and something to remember the game by. No one's going to remember the fact that your left back went into midfield and played 30 minutes in midfield and it changed the whole shape of the team. Nobody will care about that. What they care about is, did you win the game? Well, no, we lost, but the left back played really well by moving into midfield. Yeah, but nobody cares. How did your number 6 play? Well, we don't care. We lost the game. It doesn't matter now. But it seems like that's become too important, isn't it? And I'm hoping that in the women's game, it hasn't quite got to that point yet, really. It's still behind, which is a good thing. And I'm hoping that it doesn't become like the men's game too much, because already we're starting to see a few things creeping in from the men's game into the women's game, and I don't really like it. The fact that that's so different is what makes women's football, for me, better, because of how different it is. They're similar. It's the same sport. It's the same rules, but they're different, aren't they? And I want it to stay different, because that's what makes it special. We don't want to see, a lot of people say to me, oh, well, men's football is better than women's football. Why do you want to watch women's football for? And I'm like, well, it's not better or worse. It's different. And that's the whole point. We don't want to see a slower version of men's football, because that's not what's going to be enjoyable. We enjoy watching women's football because of what it is. And it is a bit slower and it isn't quite as physical. And you don't get people rolling around being injured every time they're sneezed on, right? But it's all the better for it. And I kind of don't want that to change, but I fear it's going to now with the new TV deal and the more coverage it's getting, bigger crowds in. I mean, you're saying about the crowd, Andreas, 20,000. I mean, yeah, it might not be one of the big crowds at the Emirates on Sunday. It's not an attractive opposition, but 20,000. If we had it at Meadow Park, we'd have got 3,000 there, 4,000 at Meadow Park. 20,000 is still it's still going to be the biggest crowd in the WSL this weekend, you'd imagine, because I haven't seen all the other fixtures, but I'm assuming it will be. And it just goes to show, doesn't it, that the crowds now are wanting to come and watch the game. They're wanting to be there and experience these fantastic moments and these matches. And that's what we need to not let go of, because that's people come to the stadium to watch the games because they enjoy it, not because of all this other stuff that goes on behind the scenes that no one really cares about. Terry says, come on, chaps, I'm going to put going to prison on the line here. We're talking 5, 6 or 7-0. Wow, Terry is really confident. 5, 6 or 7-0. I don't know about that. Greg says, I agree 100%, Terry. We should win easily. Well, we should win easily, but winning easily doesn't necessarily mean you score a lot of goals. Winning easily means you dominate the game, maybe 2 or 3-0. That's an easy win, isn't it? And that's probably more likely. But anyway, Greg says it's an easy game. Just put the ball in the net. Exactly. Yeah, it's an easy game. Get the ball from your goal to the other goal in the most effective way possible. That's what you should. That's how, if I was a manager, that's what I'll be doing. Terry says, and if you had number 29 in your football shirt, you played park football and worked on the market, how things have changed. Exactly. Yeah. Number 29, you wouldn't even be on the bench, would you? If you had to wear 29 back in the day. That was about it, wasn't it? Terry says, I only worry about field tilt. Yeah. Field tilt's the most important thing, whatever that is. But yeah, fantastic. Terry says, no, it's much better. No cheating, especially now. Salty's Emma in the USA. Yeah, I mean, you don't get all that theatrics there that goes on in the men's game, rolling around, pretending to be injured, just time wasting and all that kind of stuff. But it's like the way I describe women's football is it's men's football without all the unnecessary nonsense that you don't need.
The drama, yeah. Harry Kane, next. Sorry, had to mention.
No,
but it's true.
No, absolutely. I think it is. I think it is, and that's why I now enjoy watching women's football more than I enjoy watching men's football, especially the Premier League. I mean,
sorry, can I just butt in, Terry? Please don't mention Emma Hayes' in any shape of. You'll start me off, and Rich will have to kick me off. Don't start me off. Sorry.
Well, no, exactly. We shouldn't really. Well, we don't need to talk about her anymore, do we? Because she's not here. She's gone. She's left with all her legacy of nonsense that she had with her. And it's probably for the best from our point of view. So, but yeah, so. Obviously, we're confident. We need an actual score prediction, Andreas. What's your score prediction for Everton? What do you think it'll actually end up? Are you going for 2-0 or do you think we might win by a few more?
If we play Everton with no Champions League 3 days later, I'd say we will win 4-0, 5-0, maybe. But not with this important game 3 days later. I go with a 2-0 and I say we will rotate in the lineup, and we will hopefully rotate during second half or something like that. And if you play with players like Katie Reid or Catherine Cool, then it's different. We don't start with our top 11, and that's why I think it won't be too many goals, and especially in second half, I think everybody will take care not to get a little injury or something like that, or get a knock. So if we have the lead, and I'm convinced we will have the lead in the second half, then we will bring it home. And the good thing in football, one reason why we fell in love with this sport is it's unpredictable. Every game starts with 0-0, even against an opponent like Everton. It starts with 0-0, and both teams have the same chance. They have 90 minutes to play, and you can only win if you score goals. No ball possession wins a match, and that's why I want to be there. It's a new match. It's an open match, and I want to support my team. I want to see my team win, and I'm sure I will see it on Sunday. And I'll go for 2-0. If it's 4-0 or more, I'll be more happy. But let's take the 3 points, and I will try to bring some stadium atmosphere again in my match day vlog, if you like.
Absolutely. I mean, I think everybody loves the vlogs. It's really gives everybody who can't be at the game a little experience of being in the stadium and stuff like that. I think it's great. But hopefully there's more than 2 goals. But you're right. Let's get the game won. And I do think the Champions League game will have an impact. Of course it will, because, it's an important game. The first game of the group stage, it's, the toughest game of the group stage as well, on paper at least. So, I do think that will play a part. I do think squad rotation is going to happen. And yes, it's probably not going to be the most fluid Arsenal performance, probably because of those reasons, because of the changes to the lineup and this, that, and the other. So, but let's get the game won. I mean, 2-0 do. I'm not saying 2-0 won't do. I'll be more than happy with 2-0. But, obviously, I think a lot of people would expect us to win by more than 2-0. But as you said, every game starts at 0-0. Every game's a new. It's a clean slate for everybody, isn't it? Everton will go there thinking it's 0-0. We can do what we can to try to leave with a point at least. So it's up to us, isn't it, as a home team, to make sure that we break them down and get the goals. I mean, Ange, what would be your score prediction against Everton? Are you a little bit more confident for some more goals, or you just take anything to win?
No, I'm just going to be a bit because Andreas is and yourself so right. We've got a Champions League and it's Bayern coming up. I'd like more than 2-0, but I'll be realistic. I'll be happy we win. That is the most basic thing.
Yeah.
But sorry, Everton, because I really rather like your men's team. I like Sean Dyche. Sorry, I am a fan. Next, I admit that one, sadly. And I'm going to feel sorry for him. But I want to do Chelsea. I want to thrash him. Sorry, but it probably won't happen. Oh, I tell you, I'd like to see start. I'd like to see Rosa start.
Yes, I would actually. Yeah. And this is the type of game maybe to start her in, isn't it? Yeah. You know, I was a little bit surprised she maybe didn't start against Leicester actually, because I thought that would have been a good game to get started. But yeah, we need to use the squad. We've got a squad now. We've got a really good squad, as Jonas has said. We've got a Champions League squad. So we've got Champions League games now. So let's use that squad. And using the squad is in certain games playing, giving players starts. And I agree. I'd like to see Rosa start. Yeah, I really would. And let's see what she can do from the start of a game, because she did well against Man City when she came on, set up the equalising goal. I thought she made an impact. So yeah, let's give her a start. I agree. Yeah, let's get Rosa in. And yeah, let's make some changes to the lineup. Let's use that squad because it's a very good squad we've got. And we can rest and rotate, and it isn't going to weaken us too much. So yeah, last week we said it, didn't we? Daphne should start against Leicester. We said Daphne started against Leicester because we know Jonas watches the show back. So this week we're saying start Rosa. So if he starts Rosa, this is the sign, right, Jonas? If you do watch this show, the sign is you start Rosa on Sunday, right? And then we know you've watched the show because last week you started Daphne like we told you to. This week you're going to start Rosa, so we'll know that you watched the show.
No. You've got to speak with the right accent. It's Jonas. You need to start Rosa, and they'll be talking in Swedish, and he doesn't speak like that.
No, he doesn't. But he's very cool. I like that.
I won't even do a German one, Andreas. Don't worry about that.
We'll have to in a minute when we talk about the Bayern game. Greg says Chelsea have got their game postponed this weekend because of Champions League. They should be made to play. They've got one of the biggest squads in the league. Well, quite honestly, I think they should have made to play the WSL game on Monday, the Champions League game on Tuesday. That's what they should have been made to do. Not cancel the game. I agree. I think it's ridiculous. You know, Man City last week, everyone moaned about Arsenal, the men's team. Man City men's team played us on the Sunday. They then played on the Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup. And they rotated their squad, which is what it's about, isn't it? Chelsea have got a squad, use their squad. Who are they playing? Who are they due to play in the WSL? It was not one of the top teams, was it? It was, who was it they were meant to be playing? Do we know? Andreas will know. Who was they meant to be playing? Chelsea.
Against Man United.
Oh, it was Man United. Oh, it was a big game. Oh, okay, fair enough. It was a big game. But even so, you've got a squad, rotate your squad, and that's what you've got to do. You can't just postpone games because, we've got to play another game. Well, I'm sorry. Everyone's got to play 2 games if you're in the Champions League. And I know their game was due to be Sunday and then Tuesday, which isn't a big turnaround, and that is a problem, and no one really wants to see that. But they could have moved their game to the Saturday, couldn't they? They could have played on a Saturday.
It's not only Chelsea's fault. As I read, the FA wanted to set the game against Man United on Saturday instead of Sunday, but Man United refused because they have to play a Continental Cup, was their argument. And so it's not only Chelsea's fault. The first mistake was to set this match on a Sunday, knowing that Champions League might be Tuesday. And it's possible that 3 English teams qualify for the group stage. So one of these 3 teams will play on Tuesday. So the FA should never set this match on Sunday or our match on Sunday. If we had to play against Bayern Munich on Tuesday, ours would have been postponed. So it was the mistake. They should have set Chelsea, Arsenal, Man City on Saturday.
Yeah,
So,
no, that would have been a sense. But you see, what you're doing there, Andreas, is you're confusing sense and logic with the FA, and those two do not go together, do they? That would have been the logical solution, wouldn't it? Play them on a Saturday. Yeah. I mean, the Arsenal men's team are playing on Saturday at the Emirates, but that could have easily been moved to a Sunday. No drama. The game's not on telly anyway. So just play it on Sunday. It doesn't matter. Play at 2:00 on a Sunday at the Emirates, the Southampton game. And yeah, as it turned out, it doesn't really affect us too much because our game's not till Wednesday. But even so, yeah, that would have been the sensible option, obviously, to have played every game, put the 3 Champions League teams on the Saturday, because the WSL games on a Saturday every weekend anyway. Wasn't Man United playing tonight in the Continental Cup anyway? So they've still got a good gap, Wednesday to Saturday, haven't they? So I don't see what they're complaining about. But let's blame Chelsea anyway, just because we might as well. Just blame them.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, blame Chelsea. No, that's their fault. It's their fault. LG's gone for 2-1. Well, I think 2-1. I think that depends on whether Daphne's in goal or not.
Yeah, in goal.
Scoring, yeah, Everton aren't scoring if Daphne's in goal. Absolutely not. If Manu Zinsberger's in goal, then maybe they might get a sneaky one. But if Daphne's in goal, Everton ain't scoring any. No one's scoring any goals all season against us if Daphne's in goal. Definitely not. Greg says, forget about half-time, give us your full-time score. Well, I think 2-0 was the full-time score, wasn't it? But I'm going to be a little bit more, I'll say optimistic. I think in the end we'll score a few goals. I'm going to go 4-0. I think we will win 4-0 in the end. I don't think it's going to be an easy 4-0. I think we might have to struggle to break them down a little bit, be patient. I think in the end they'll run out of legs because it's a big pitch. They're not used to playing on a pitch that size. And I think in the end we will exploit that space. We bring players off the bench, and I think we'll get maybe 3 goals in the last 15, 20 minutes or something and like seal it then. But, I think it's going to be a difficult game, but I think we'll win in the end fairly comfortably and it'll be good and we're all going to enjoy it. Of course we are. LG says our women's team need a set piece coach. They've got a set piece coach. They've got a brand new one. Yeah, they've got a new one. And I think maybe that's the problem. We touched on this just before. Maybe this new set piece coach is going to need some time for their ideas to come across, like it did with the men's team. Exactly the same. It didn't happen straight away, did it? Nikola Jovic came in and it took a little while for his ideas to come off and pay off. I think, we can't expect it to necessarily happen any quicker for the women's team because these things take time. You've got to work on the training ground and work. And eventually you start to see the results. It doesn't happen straight away. So if we still got these problems with set pieces at the end of the season or even maybe after Christmas, then we'd have to maybe question and think what's going on. Why haven't we improved? Why isn't this working? But at the moment, I think we've got to understand it's a new set piece coach, new ideas coming in, and it's going to take time. And they need to figure out, the girls need to figure out maybe who's best to take the corners, who's best to attack them in this position and that position. And it's just working things out, isn't it? And again, we're probably going to overcomplicate it. Short corners to me are overcomplicating things. You've got a corner, get the ball in the box. Because if you get the ball in the box, it could end up in the goal. It might do. If you play a short corner, okay, you've got a different angle to put the cross in. But what happens is, as it happened against Leicester, the cross just gets blocked. And then the ball's suddenly up the other end of the pitch. It's like, well, what happened there? Just get it in the box. And you never know. Anything can happen. Deflection, the goalie can drop the ball and you can score a goal. Put it in that danger zone from a corner. You don't need a set piece coach to do that there. Who can cross a ball? Katie McCabe, you can cross a ball. Go and take that corner, stick it in the 6-yard box. And someone go and attack it and try and score. That's all you need to do. Don't overcomplicate. You don't need 4 set piece coaches at your club there. You just need someone to say, cross that ball into the danger zone. Just put it in there and see what happens. Attack that ball. Get the players in there. Just attack the ball. Attack it and see what happens. you might get a few more goals by doing that. But anyway, Terry says, let's be honest. This season, I haven't got any worries what player Jonas puts out. It's the best squad we've had in ages. Yeah, absolutely. You're right.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, big time.
And it's good, isn't it? Because we can rest and rotate for these games. And, we made some changes for the Leicester game. We're going to make some changes for Everton, I'm sure. And then there'll be more changes for the Bayern Munich. I'm pretty sure they will. LG says, I have to admit that a few years ago, the women's team was giving me more joy than the men's team. But now it seems like the tables have turned. We are so boring under Jonas. I kind of don't really agree with that. I still find the kind of Barcelona, Pep Guardiola style of the men's team boring. Personally, I find it quite boring. The women's team aren't as exciting to watch as they were a few years ago. I agree. It used to be all out attack and stuff like that, whereas now it's a lot more structured. And yes, to that extent, I kind of agree with you, but I still prefer watching the women's team to watching the men's team. I still think it's more exciting football, even though you may not agree because we're not scoring as many goals and stuff like that. But to watch what games, for me, they're better to watch. I mean, I know, Andreas, you think they're better to watch, don't you? The women's team games are better to watch, aren't they?
Yeah, I agree. Of course, the Leicester match was one it was boring to see. But if you see the Man City match, this was really a great football match from both teams, and it was it was a joy to watch this match. All last season, our matches against Chelsea, not the one at Stamford Bridge, but the one at home, and the Conti Cup final. These were really matches. It was a joy to watch, and of course, we'll always have matches like Leicester. In which we discussed it earlier, that the only thing that counted last Sunday was to get the win. But all in all, I still enjoy watching the women's team and women's football because it's technically really good, and it's different to the men's football. But don't compare it. We often say don't compare the men's Premier League to the women's WSL. It's two different competitions, and we love to watch the women's football and the WSL, and this is what our show is about.
Exactly, yeah, and I it's possible to like both. Of course it is, and we all follow the men's team, we all follow the women's team, and it's possible to like both. And everyone's going to have different preferences for the sorts of football that they like. I mean, someone said to me the other night, I was watching the men's game. I can't remember which one it was now, whether it was the one last night or last week, I can't remember. And someone said, "How can you not enjoy the football that this team are playing?" Meaning the men's team. And I'm like, well, everybody's got style of football that they enjoy more than other styles of football, don't they? And it's just that's just naturally the way it is. And I haven't become overly I haven't really overly enjoyed the style of play that the men's team play. It's effective, we get results, and that's fantastic. But in terms of enjoying the style of football, I much prefer watching the women's team play because I do think that's a more enjoyable style for me. Everybody's different, I accept that, but for me, I'd rather, if I was given a choice, if both games were being played at exactly the same time and I could only watch one of them, I would watch 9 times out of 10, I'd choose the women's game over the men's game. And we saw that last season, didn't we? Arsenal played Man City at the Etihad, the men's team, on the same day as a Continental Cup final. I never watched the men's game at all. I didn't even care about the result. It wasn't until later on after we'd got back and I had 5 minutes to sit down, I looked at the result, oh, it's 0-0. And I didn't even think about it because to me, it's no choice to make when it's like that. Obviously, in an ideal world, you can watch both, like we can this weekend, like we could last weekend. Brilliant. If you can get to watch both, fantastic. But if I had a choice, I would choose the women's team over watching the men's team. And I would do that pretty much every time. I mean, and obviously, you like watching the men's team as well. Of course you do. We all do. But it's a different experience, isn't it? Both in the stadium and when you're watching on telly. Women's football, for me, is a more enjoyable experience. How do you find it? Because obviously, you watch both, don't you?
Oh, sorry, you're talking to me.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, I do. And obviously I go to the women's games, and just like you said, I prioritise. I just enjoy the women's more now. When I first started out, it was only ever men's football. I still enjoy a men's game. Don't get to see them. I like a cup final in whatever shape or form. I like the drama, the excitement. But yeah, I would definitely prioritise over women's football. I don't even know how to describe it at this point. To me, it's just a joy. And you get some really boring games, like the good old 1-0, like we had on Sunday. But it is what it is. You have to take it because you support your club, you support your team. It's what it is. But and actually, people are going to think I'm seriously weird. For the women, I love the fact that they've got back in the group stages of the Champions League because it's a totally different ethos to what it means to the men's. All I've ever seen from the men's is money. Everybody bangs on about the money. Oh, what money are they going to get? Yeah, I know it helps, whatever. But for the women, I hate to even mention their names, Barcelona. They're and who's the other lot who keep winning it in the women's?
Leon.
Yeah. Good on them. They're amazing. Well, Arsenal did it once, next, whatever it was called back in the day. But
yeah, exactly.
that it's just a different status.
Yeah,
Different status.
yeah. No, you're right. It is. No, you're right. The men's game's become all about money, isn't it? That's all it's literally about. And I still think for women's football, the kind of prestige of playing in the Champions League for the players means more to them because the money isn't there. So they can't think about, well, I want to play in the Champions League because I'm going to get more money, or the club are going to get more money. You think about being in the Champions League because you want to play in the Champions League and you want to try and win that. I'm not saying the men don't want to win it. Of course they do. But when there's that much money involved in anything, that always clouds your thinking a little bit, doesn't it? It does, unfortunately, and that's the way it is, isn't it? Greg says Chelsea are worried because after Tuesday, their next game after that is against us, and they want as much rest as possible. Yeah, I think you're probably right, actually. That's probably why they postponed it, because they've looked at that and thought, you know what? We can't play 2 games before we play Arsenal because we'll get hammered. So let's reduce our workload. Let's just play 1 game, and we'll still get hammered. But anyway, maybe you're right. Maybe that's what they're thinking is. Who knows? Terry says, "Blimey, Richard, them meds you're taking for your cold must be strong. I can't believe 4-0 came out of your lips." Yeah, 4-0. Why not? 4-0. Let's do it. Let's do 4-0. Greg says, and I agree with you. We are the best team to watch in the WSL. We certainly are. There's no doubt about that. We're the best team to watch. 1, because of the crowd and the atmosphere that we generate, and 2, because of the players that we've got, and we just play the best football. I agree. I 100% agree with that. Terry says, I'm going to upset LG now. Arteta out. Jonas is king. That's true. Terry says, Richard, the word you're looking for is boring for the men's team. Yeah, I kind of do feel that a little bit. I've got to be honest, I do. And I don't want to feel like that, but I just do. Greg says, Arteta's tactics are poor. At least Jonas' team attacks. Yeah, they do. Yeah, we still kind of don't score enough goals. But anyway, LG says, do you agree with the possible proposal for the expansion of the WSL? Personally, I still prefer 12 teams, but with a slight change of 2 relegation slots compared to the current one. See, that's quite interesting, actually. That is a really good point. I personally would be in favour of it increasing to maybe, don't go straight into 20 teams, but maybe increase it to maybe 14 to begin with. But two relegations and 2 promotions has to happen, because that has to be the way forward. And yes, you could say the Championship isn't strong enough yet. You get 2 teams promoted, they're going to get relegated again. But that happens in the Premier League. So, you know, we've got to start there and allow them the opportunity. And I would like to see 14 teams and 2 relegations and promotions. To me, that's the next step. I think 12 teams isn't quite enough, because 22 games, you lose a couple early on and your season's gone. You can't win the league, and it's pointless. It's horrible like that. You're better off having more competitive, more games. You've got more opportunity to make things up. Andreas, what would you say? What would be your ideal number for the WSL teams?
Yes, absolutely. 14 teams and 2 teams relegated. But it's important that we have the Championship fully professional. That must be the next step. I mean, we all read about this new TV deal, £30 million plus add-ons, in total 45 million for all teams in the WSL and in the Championship, and then make the Championship fully professional. And then, it's important to open the path for the teams in the Championship to the WSL. It must be possible for them to get promoted, not only 1 team. And then if you play a bad season, you are relegated again. And then, so with 14 teams and 2 up, 2 down, this must be the future. And I think we have to do this next step. The German Bundesliga is doing this for next season. They are currently playing with also 12 teams in the Bundesliga. Normally 2 are relegated, but next season only 1 will be relegated and 3 are going up, and then they have 14 teams. And I think this new core, or how they are called now, WPLL, this must be the next step. The money is there with the new TV deal, so let's do this. And as I said, once again, Championship must be fully professional, and the gap must be we must close the gap between the Championship and the WSL. That the team that are promoted, that they are able to compete in the WSL. This will be an important step.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I think that's an important point, actually, yeah, because it's all very well promoting more teams, but if they've been playing semi-professional in the Championship, they're not going to be able to compete in the WSL, and they're going to just lose every week, a bit like we're seeing with Crystal Palace now. Although hopefully they might improve. But yeah, no, that's needs to be what happens. I mean, Ange, would you like to see more teams in the WSL and more promotions and stuff?
Well, it's progression the way forwards, isn't it? And yeah, I'm going to go along with 14 at present. I'm also going to sound really selfish here. I'm not an overly rich person, and I'm loving the availability and how affordable it is to watch games. Sorry, this is a fact.
Yeah,
I would like to go to a men's game. It ain't going to happen now. Next. On whatever level, but I totally agree with what Andreas said there. Yeah, it's got to move forward now, but I wanted to do it. I'm being really selfish, just at a slightly slower pace. So yeah, the 14.
I agree with you. And in a way, the move to the Emirates, although it was inevitable and it's a good thing because it means that the club are growing, it's kind of, it was nice being at Meadow Park when you could just turn up on the day, pay on the gate, go in, watch the game in front of, maybe 1,000 fans there. And that was kind of nice. And that's kind of moved away now. You can't do that anymore. You've got to buy tickets in advance. Even when the game's at Meadow Park, you still got to buy a ticket in advance. You can't just turn up and pay at Meadow Park anymore because it's going to be sold out. And the Emirates is the same. Obviously, you can't just turn up and buy a ticket and play on the gate. And it is moving quite quickly. And yeah, you make a good point about the tickets actually, Ange, because that's the one thing that worries me. At the moment, the ticket prices for the women's game, even at the Emirates, are still very, very reasonably priced, and in fact, they're more than reasonable. I think. Last time we went, I think we paid like 12 quid or something for a ticket.
Yeah, you can still get that. Yeah,
it's amazing. It is amazing. So and inevitably that's going to change. The prices are going to go up. It's going to soon get to £20, and it'll be £25, and it'll be £30, and it'll start to go that way. We know that's going to happen, and it will be a shame because you're right. In a sense, the tickets for the men's games now is priced a lot of people out of them. Absolutely, it has.
Big time.
People that used to go regularly can't afford to go anymore, or they go once in a blue moon because that's all they can afford. And that's not really right, is it? It's not really right because football was always the sport of the working class people, wasn't it? That's what football was built around, and now it's getting to a point where those same type of people can't go to games because they can't afford to go. Absolutely right.
Well, that's the rise of the Premier League to kind of but it's true, isn't it? This is what has changed.
Absolutely.
And all right, you've taken out, and all right, it still goes on at certain matches, whatever. None of us, and we grew up in the 70s. Hooliganism was horrible. That is a fact, and all that went with it. But equally, the Premiership. Did you know what? Something that really gets me, and I'm not a lover of Sky. I'm able to access Sky. Thank you to somebody who allows me to access it. The betting, the gambling. I am so opposed to that. I mean, I personally don't gamble. I'm a bit thick next. I wouldn't even know how to do it next. Thank God for that little bit of money I got. Keep hold of it. But seriously, every time you go on, even on X, it's all gambling, isn't it? I think that's appalling. Really bad.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, I've had a thing about this for a long, long time. That lots of football coverage is sponsored by betting companies. The Football League, I don't know if it used to be the Sky Bet Championship, didn't it? The competitions were sponsored by gambling companies, and I've had a big issue with that for a long time because people don't maybe realise that gambling can be a serious problem for a lot of people.
Well, it's a serious addiction,
It is, exactly, and it causes just as much problems and issues as alcohol,
drink, drugs, whatever.
And the fact that they wouldn't advertise drugs like that. They wouldn't necessarily. They advertise alcohol to a certain degree, but not in that
level.
And they keep saying, don't they? Gamble responsibly. If you're an addict, you can't do it responsibly. You're not able to function responsibly to do it. So it's ridiculous having that as a warning. The people that can do it responsibly aren't the people that you have to worry about. It's the people that aren't able to do it responsibly. And to stop that is to maybe stop these ads all the time in your face, forcing people to think, oh, actually, you know what, it's a good idea. I'm going to try that. And young people as well that watch it think, oh, you know what, I'll have a bet on the football because they've seen the adverts for them, and everybody talks about how
they're
cool
getting
it is.
indoctrinated.
Cool
Sorry,
bet,
was it Wimbledon and all their young players that were calling out about being sponsored by whatever betting companies? I'm sure it's Wimbledon. I think it's last year.
Yeah, I mean, but it's
totally
wrong. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's. I agree with 100%. That's been something that's bugged me for years. It's not just now. That's been a big problem I've had for a long time, because I don't think that they should be promoting gambling at all. It shouldn't be promoted at all to anywhere. You know, it exists. We know it exists. We know how we can do it if we want to, but don't put adverts on all the time. Don't advertise it. You know what I mean? It's just wrong. I think it's wrong because of the problems that it causes. But there's too much money involved. You see, where there's money, it's always going to happen because of the money. But anyway, Greg says, get football back to the working class, not the star Malakis. Exactly, that's where it needs to be. It needs to be back with the working classes. That's where it came from. It's got to go back there, hasn't it? Terry says it's okay getting more pro, but the girls need to stay in touch with the fans, not like the men's team. Yeah, that's true. We don't want to lose that either, do we? That kind of personal touch that you get in a women's game, and we don't want to lose that, but inevitably it will. It's starting to change now already, isn't it? You know, you're not getting that same interaction with the players that you used to be able to get because there's more fans there. Suddenly it becomes more risky, more dangerous. Of course it is, and that's security and stuff like that. You've got to understand that's unfortunately that's the way it is. But yeah, I agree. I don't want to lose that, but unfortunately we're gonna have to accept that as part of the growth of the game. It's one of the things that we're going to have to understand, that you've got to lose some things to be able to grow and gain more. And I think overall the sport's going to gain, but we're going to lose a few bits along the way that we enjoy. And of course, it's not just one game this week. We do, of course, we mentioned it before. This time next week, we are playing, of course, in Germany. And there's someone here who knows quite a little bit about our opponents, I think. Of course, as always, Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. It's always the Andreas Derby, and it's going to be the Andreas Derby again, of course, next week. The first game. If you remember, of course, last time we were in the group stage, our first game was away against the more fancied team in the group, and we went away to Lyon and won 5-1. I'm not expecting anything quite like that. But I mean, Andreas, what's Bayern Munich's form like? Because obviously you've been watching them this season as well. How are they playing? What do you think our sort of chances are of going there and getting a good start?
Bayern already played 4 games in the new season, and their results were 2-0, 6-2, 5-1, and 4-0. So they scored a lot of goals, and they 4 matches, 4 wins. So they are on a high, and it will be a very tough match. But all their matches were, with the same pattern. They struggled in the first half. In the match against Leipzig and against Hoffenheim. They were 1-0 down until 43rd minute, and then they managed to get the equalizer and the second goal just before halftime. And in the second half, the floods were open, and they scored goal after goal. Against Hoffenheim, we all remember Hoffenheim as a very strong opponent from our Champions League journey a few years ago. Game against Hoffenheim, they were 1-0 down, then they won 5-1. And last Sunday in Bremen, they were 1-0 up at halftime. Then in 51st minute, Vigosdottir got a red card, and they had to play 40 minutes with 1 player down and scored 3 goals from 1-0 to 4-0.
What?
So, yeah.
Did Arteta watch that game? What you mean you can score goals with 10 players? How is that even possible? You're not even allowed to attack with 10 players. How can you score goals?
They scored 3 goals with 1 player down. So this says everything about their run of form and how good they are. And the biggest weapon Bayern has are corners and set pieces. Their first match in Potsdam, they won 2-0. 2 corners headed in from centre back Linda Sembrand. She's already 36 years old, Swedish international. She headed in 2 corners. Then in all the other matches, it was at least 1 goal, 1 or 2 goals from a corner headed in from one of the center backs, or against Bremen it was Lea Schuller who scored after a corner. So this is their biggest weapon, and I would say if we play Manu in goal in Munich, we will of course concede from a corner, at least one situation. So let's play Daphne in goal, but I'm sure Jonas will play Manu in this Champions League game. At least we have to be aware that this is the biggest weapon Bayern has, and their power in the second half when they find the breakthrough or break the deadlock and score their first goal, it's nearly impossible to control their offensive power. We know the names: Clara Buhl, Lea Schuller, of course Georgia Stanway. She scored, I think, in 3 games in a row, and she had a cracker of a goal in Bremen from 20-25 meters, like she does for the Lionesses. So she's in a really good form. That defense with Vigos Dottir, normally Magda Eriksson, who we know from Chelsea, but she's injured. I don't know whether she will be back. She had a knee injury. So, as I said, Linda Sembrand, the 36-year-old Swedish, is playing in center back. Julia Gwynn as a fullback. They have a really good team. They're in a good form, playing at home, but they are playing at the campus. And normally the attendance is maximum 2,500. Now I heard the rumors that they have an exceptional allowance to have 4,000 in, but 4,000, and we have 20,000, 30,000. It's totally different, and our players are used to big crowds or to good atmosphere. It will be a tough match from the 2 best teams in the group, and we don't want to lose the first match. But Bayern also, I think, if they would have a wish list, then they would say, please not Arsenal on match day 1. So, and the pressure is also on Bayern. They are playing at home. They should win their home matches. Last season in Champions League, they drew against Rome and Ajax at home. So this cost them the qualification for the knockout stage. We have a chance there. We must be good in defense and self-confident. Defend their corners good. Then everything is possible. But it will be a really good match. And for us as fans, supporters, it will be a good match to watch, because the quality of the squads from both teams is extremely high.
Yeah, and as we said before, that's so important, isn't it? You want to see a great game of football, and we did play them in the knockout stage, didn't we? A quarter-final 2 seasons ago, and we did lose 1-0 away, didn't we, in the first leg? And although we turned it around, and in a 2-leg tie, maybe losing the first leg away isn't necessarily, if it's only by 1 goal, isn't necessarily the end of the world. But I think in a group game, losing your first game away from home, I think would be a worse result now to lose this game than it was to lose that first leg before, because it's not like you can make up of the ground in the second leg. You've lost 3 points in the group, and suddenly you're under pressure in your second game. You have to win your second game then, having lost your first game. So I think it's more important in this game that we don't lose as we did before. And I don't know, it's definitely a tough one. LG says Bayern is much stronger than when we beat them in 2022, 2023. Andreas is agreeing with you, so that's obviously the case. Greg said 3-0 as German league, not as competitive as that. I think 3-0 is a bit optimistic. I mean, we did play well in that game 2 years ago, didn't we? We were unlucky to lose. We had chances we should have won. But no, I can't see us winning 3-0, let's be honest. I mean, that's incredible. Greg says McCabe against Oberdorf, only 1 winner there. That's quite an interesting battle, isn't it? 2 of the most physical players that there are. So that'll be interesting. I mean, there's lots of interesting battles in that game, obviously. I mean, Ange, do you think we can go over to Germany and get a positive result? I mean, a draw would be all right, wouldn't it?
Sorry, Lord Andreas, I was almost living in blissful ignorance. Now I'm just so not optimistic in any shape or form. I did do some research because I really don't do foreign football, but I thought I'd better show willing. And they're top of the Bundesliga. Yeah, just by what you've spoken about, they've got some blinding players, and what can I say? Jonas put a really strong lineup. Girls, sort out. Silly Everton. Sorry, really shouldn't have said that. But yeah, strong lineup. Our girls can go for it. I don't know. Maybe take a draw. I don't know. Just by what you've told me, they sound a bit better than I thought they were. No. But
Well,
hopefully
yeah,
I've been proven wrong. Seriously. Actually, that's how I work. I'm always pessimistic to be optimistic. So I'm going to say Arsenal women are going to be a bit rubbish with a strong lineup, and they'll just do it. Yeah.
Okay, well, that'll be. I mean, to be honest with you, I would take a draw away from home at Bayern Munich. I would take a draw. It's a decent start to the group. You've got a point on the board. You haven't lost any ground on the other team that we're probably going to be battling away for that top spot. So I think I'll take a draw. Can we get a draw? The set piece thing worries me a little bit. Their strength from set pieces, because that's not our strength, is it at all? And I think you're right. If Manu Zinsberger's in goal, and that could cause problems because she's not great at balls into the box. So, let's see what happens. LG says Erberdorf is still sidelined with an AC. Of course she is, yeah. So we won't see McCabe against Erberdorf, will we? And that's probably a good thing for us, because although she's a spoiler, she's also a good player who does a great job for the team. So, it's probably not a bad thing from us that she can't play, but obviously it's an ACL injury, which is horrible. So we wish her all the best, of course. But yeah, I mean, I would take a draw all day long. I would definitely take a draw from that game, and I'd be happy with a draw. I wouldn't even care. I don't even care how we play necessarily. If we come away with a point, if we come away with a point from that game, then to me that would be a fantastic start to the group stage. But then, having said that, when we played Lyon 2 years ago, before the game, I was like, well, if we only lose 1-0, I'll be quite happy. And we went over there and won 5-1. So who knows? If it all goes our way, who knows what can happen. But I mean, Greg makes a point in the sense that the German league is not as competitive as the WSL, and winning games 4-0 and 6-0, whatever it is, in the German league isn't the same as playing a team in the WSL. We accept that, but also Bayern Munich has still got some very, very good players. And if Bayern Munich played in the WSL, they would do well, because they're a very good team, aren't they? So I think we can dismiss a little bit the strength of the league. You can only beat who you play. And Bayern are still a very good team, aren't they? All international players, Andreas mentioned there, they're top players, aren't they? So it's going to be a difficult game. And if we come away with it with a draw, I say I would be over the moon. Really, really, I would be over the moon with that. That would be a fantastic result. And it would set us up nicely, wouldn't it, then, for the group? Because I say if we lose, you're under pressure straight away. You are under pressure straight away, aren't you, in the group? We've only, it's only a 6-game group, isn't it? So you lose one game, and suddenly you're trailing one of the teams, and you'd imagine Juventus will probably win their game because they're playing Valerenga. They'll probably beat them, so suddenly we're 3 points adrift of the top 2 after one game. Yes, there's games to make it up, but you know what I mean. It's not the ideal start. So yeah, I'm hoping we can get a result of some sort. Obviously, a win would be amazing. That would be incredible to go over there and get a win, but let's be happy with a draw if we get one, and accept that and be pleased. I mean, would you be happy with a draw as well, wouldn't you, Andreas? Surely you'd be happy with a draw over there.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd take a draw. My prediction is 2-2. I'd say we will concede after a corner or set piece. As I said, it's the biggest strength of them. But I say 2-2. And my Munich friends bought me a ticket. They opened the ticket sale yesterday evening, so very late, and the general sale opens on Friday. It's ridiculous, but I have my ticket. I will sit among all the Bayern Munich fans, but I will wear my Arsenal kit and
Well, can I just say, my lovely newly acquired Dutch friend, she's going as well. She's a massive gooner. I'll be meeting up with her on the Chelsea game, and I'm trying to introduce her to you, Rich, because she's very good. But yeah, she'll be there, and she'll be wearing her Arsenal.
I've no problem with this. Last time we played in what was it, quarterfinals in Munich. I was sitting among Bayern Munich fans, and Lea Schuller scored the goal. They were all jumping up and celebrating, and I was sitting there. Okay, it's okay. I love Bayern Munich, and I'm there for their home matches. It's my German team, but if they play against each other, it's Arsenal for me. And yeah,
that's fair enough.
Let's take a 2-2, and I will jump up and celebrate our 2 goals then.
Yeah.
You just be careful that you don't upset the locals there, because that won't be good.
For this game, there I don't have any fears that it could be dangerous.
No, it's different in women's football anyway, isn't it? It's totally different in women's football, the atmosphere and stuff. You'd have to do a vlog from that game as well, then that'd be good. So do a vlog from Germany. Wow, that'd be fantastic. I mean,
it's the campus, and this in this stadium.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. Yeah, that would be fantastic. So yeah, I think we'll all take a draw. We'll be happy with a draw, and start off with a point on the board. Although LG says topping the group is crucial because it gives you an easier path to the semi-finals, since you're likely to avoid Lyon, Barcelona, even Chelsea. That massively helped us in 2022, 2023. No, it did. Yeah, absolutely. It definitely did help us, but you know. You mentioned Lyon there. We beat Lyon comfortably last time, didn't we? So, you know, I wouldn't fear playing anybody. We need to get through the group. Whether it's coming first place, obviously, is ideal, because you want to win the group. That's what you're there for. But if we come second and qualify, it means we get a group winner in the next round. That's the way it is. We can't fear any. If you're going to win the Champions League, you're going to have to beat at least one of the good teams or the top teams, aren't you, at some stage, whether it's in a quarterfinal, a semi-final, or the final, and whether it's Chelsea, Lyon, or Barcelona. We're going to have to beat one of those teams to win it, aren't we, at some stage, whether it's over 2 legs or in the final. So let's play them whenever we play them, and let's beat them whenever we play. Imagine if say we get Barcelona in the quarterfinals and we beat them, who's going to stop us then from winning it? Nobody. No one can stop us. We'd be invincible. So everyone will be worried about playing us. You know, we go over to Barcelona, smash them 3-0 or whatever it is, like we did with Lyon. You know what I mean? And then everybody's going to fear us. So let's not go in with that kind of inferiority complex that, we don't want to play Lyon, we don't want to play these, no, let them worry about us. They don't want to play us. That's how we need to think about it. Yes, we want to win the group. Of course we do. Everybody wants to win the group, but you know, we in a Champions League group that you've got very, very good teams that we're playing. You know, it's not even guaranteed we're going to finish in the top 2. Looking at the group, Juventus are a decent team. You know, we should beat them, but they're a decent team. We know how good Bayern Munich are. You know, we just need to qualify. We need to come first or second and get through first, and worry about the rest of it later on. You can't worry about who you might get or you might not get when you haven't even qualified yet. You can't. It's pointless, isn't it? Because we might not even be in it. Let's just get through first, and if it's in first place, brilliant. Barcelona might come second in their group. Lyon might come second in their group. So actually winning a group might make it more difficult for us. We don't know. Let's just get through. We'll worry about the draw when it comes out if we're in it. That's what we need to think about, isn't it? Greg says, looking forward to the wedding invitation. Terry says, as George Michael says, you've got to have faith in our girls. They'll be unstoppable this season. I don't remember that song about we'll have got to have faith in our girls. They'll be unstoppable. But anyway, I'm sure it was a good song.
You got to have faith.
You got to have faith. Of course you got to have faith. I've got faith in this team. I think we've got a great squad of players, and I don't fear playing anybody. Absolutely not. And I certainly don't fear going over to Germany to play Bayern Munich. It's a tough game. We need to be on it, but we can definitely get a result. We can get a draw over there, and that would be a fantastic start. So yeah, let's beat Everton, get a draw in Bayern Munich, and I think everyone will be happy with it. And of course, we know what's happening next weekend. It's Chelsea, isn't it? So you know the games aren't getting any easier, are they? Let's be honest. But it's what it's about, isn't it? You know, you want to be playing against the top teams. You want to be testing yourself.
Sorry, can I just, Andreas, are you going to the Chelsea game?
Yes, of course.
Right. After the game, get yourself down to the media centre.
Okay.
Afterwards, I'll see you there.
Where is the media centre?
Right, you know, by the Armoury.
Next to the Armoury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where you can see some play, because my dear friend Emerson, he spots all the players, gets all the selfies, bless his heart. We always meet there after the match.
Okay. Is it left to the Armoury?
Yeah, it's next to the Armoury.
Okay.
There you go. I'll look out for you, mate. Yeah, sorted.
I'll come there. When you see me, then say hi. Yeah.
Yeah. No, seriously, please do.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, that'll be good. Oh, look at that. You see, all sorted that. That's going to be good, isn't it? So we'll have to get it on the vlog as well. You'll have to get Ange on the vlog, Andreas, as well. And
My words of wisdom. Cry when we've lost. No, we're not going to lose.
No, we won't. No, you won't be
No.
crying. You won't be crying. We'll be celebrating a great victory against our old rivals. And Emerson's a good guy as well, isn't he?
I love Emerson. He's a good man.
Yeah, he's a top man, isn't he? Greg says there, we're the team to fear in the Champions League. We're the team to fear against everybody. Quite honestly, we're just the team to fear because look at us. I mean, look at our players. Look at our goalkeeper now. I mean, Christ, no one's going to score past there, are they? Let's be honest. So we are the team to fear. Absolutely, we are.
God help that poor young woman when she lets one in. Seriously, sorry.
No, she'll be fine. Obviously, she's going to let a goal in eventually, I'm sure. But when what convinced me more than anything was we went to the Euro 22, the quarter-final, France against Holland. And France should have battered Holland about 5-0 in that game. And Daphne literally saved everything. And there was a point in the second half where Wendy Reynard was coming up for corners. And France were just putting corners into the box. Well, not this short corner. They were just lobbing them into the box.
I mean, she put the fear of God into you with the best of them next.
Wendy Reynard was winning header after header. They were all going in the goal. And somehow Daphne's flying over her everywhere, tipping them around the post and over the bar. And there was one moment in the second half where Wendy Reynard had this effort at goal from quite close range. And it was one of the best saves I've ever seen from Daphne. Full stretch. She tipped it. I don't know how she got a fingertip to it. Tipped it around the post. And you could see the look on Wendy Reynard's face as if to say, what have I got to do to score in this game? She just couldn't believe that Daphne was... She must have made 4 or 5 saves just from Wendy Reynard in that game. She was incredible. And in the end, France won 1-0 with a penalty. And she nearly saved the penalty as well. She got a fingertip to it and almost saved it. So it was an incredible performance. And after that game, coming out the ground, I was saying, I want Arsenal. Arsenal have got to sign that goalkeeper. She's incredible. It took 2 years, but finally, see again. Jonas has listened to the show. He's listened to me banging on about it for 2 years, and finally we've got her. LG says we miss Amanda for the corners. Yeah, we do. Absolutely, we do. But hopefully she'll be back. There you go.
Maybe.
Yeah, she'll be back soon. She had a little baby, didn't she? Little cute thing, wasn't it? There's some pictures on Instagram and stuff. So I'm sure she's going to start working some way back to fitness again. And will she play this season? Not sure, but she'll definitely be back. I'm sure she will. So that's going to be good, isn't it? So Terry says, I remember Richard used to talk about Stina like he does DVD. Well, the Stina's still the one, obviously, but I love
Stina.
Yeah, Stina's still always going to be the one, but I think Daphne is such a great signing for us, and that's been the one position that's the one position we've been worried about. I think the goalkeeping over the last couple of years, and now we've got it sorted. So fantastic. So it's going to be a good week, isn't it? We're going to beat Everton, of course we are. We're going to probably score a couple of goals off you. Then we're going to go over to Bayern Munich, and we're probably going to get a draw. It's going to be great. And then next week, of course, we can then look forward to Chelsea with a little bit more optimism. I'm not sure when we're going to be able to do a show next week because you're going to be flying, Andreas, aren't you, on Friday? Are you flying on Friday?
Yeah.
I'm assuming you will before the Chelsea
game. Again, yeah. Maybe we can make a show on Thursday after the Bayern Munich game.
Oh, we might be able to. Yeah, we maybe have a think about that. See if we can do that because it'd be good to get a show before Chelsea, obviously, because obviously it's a big week as well. The Everton game, the Bayern Munich game, lots to look back on. So we'll try and see what we can do. If we can get something sorted for next Thursday, we will, because that'll be good. But yeah, we need to do something because the Chelsea game is one of the biggest games of the season. Of course it is. But it's going to be. We've got a good week to come before it, haven't we? It's going to be an exciting week. We're always looking forward to it, as always, and it's great that we've got these big games to look ahead to, isn't it? Because that's what it's all about. It's what we're here for. So that has been the Arsenal Women's Show for the week, which has been good, isn't it? LG says Leia Cadena, our best defender, both Lotta and Leah overrated. Well, I wouldn't say Lotta and Leah overrated. I agree. Leia Cadena has been brilliant. Absolutely.
That's my birthday twin, by the way. Age only separates us and nationality. Leia is, I called that out. I'm not a water diviner with players. I can't tell you what. I knew she'd be absolutely a blinding player. Leah, don't even go there. Poor Woubermoy. Oh, we love her, but she's lost. If I'm going to be brutal, she's done really well, but it's just never quite been there. If that makes sense.
I think we've said it before. It's her concentration, isn't it? In games, she'll have moments where she seems to switch off, And when you're a defender and you switch off for a second, it can be crucial.
Well,
and
yeah, that's pretty, yeah.
And unfortunately, even now, I think she's improved that over the last couple of seasons. But even now, it still does happen from time to time. And while that keeps happening, that's what's stopping her being a top player. Absolutely, it is. Leah Williamson doesn't have those lapses in concentration very often.
No, she's always
yeah. Leia Cadena doesn't have those lapses in concentration very often at all. Hopefully, Katie Reid's going to be one who doesn't have those lapses in concentration very often. That's what makes the top defenders the top defenders, and the rest are just good defenders. And that's where Lotta is. She's a very good defender, but she's not ever going to be that top player until she can work that out. And I don't know how she's going to do it. Will she ever be able to do it? I don't know. Greg says, if the Lord can't make it, we've got Ange, so no worries. Exactly, yeah, exactly. We do. LG says, even Sunday, and Leia covered it. Yeah, you're right. She does, yeah, but she does have lapses. We know that.
I said this last week after the Man City game. There was one situation when Lotta claimed offside. She raised her arm and offside, and Leia kept on playing and blocked the shot from Shaw. So this is the difference. And I'd say Cody is our best defender so far in this season. Pre-season and the Champions League, she's our best defender. Leah is not overrated, but maybe she had not the best games when she played so far this season, and now she's out with this concussion. So no harms against Leah. She's world class, and if she's fit, it's quite clear that Leah is playing. And at the moment, I'd say Leah and Cody should be our centre backs.
Oh, that's a really good pairing. I mean, when did we last have that with Raffaelli? Didn't we? And that was I mean, and we all mourned and all right, she wasn't to stay with us long. And also the biggest factor, guys, and not yourselves, people in the chat, Leah has come back from an ACL.
Yeah,
and it really does take time. I mean, it's only now that, I mean, she's got the concussion protocol at the moment, but it's only recently she can play 90 odd minutes again, isn't it? Or near enough.
No, exactly. Yeah, and I do think that her injury has made it. I don't think it's necessarily just made an impact on her physically. Of course, it has. She hasn't played. She didn't play football for like 9 months, 10 mons. Of course, it's going to have an impact. You're not going to get back to your best straight away. But I think as well, the injury with Leah has. I think it's opened up some different avenues in her life and her career that wasn't maybe there before, because all she was doing was playing football. She had that time off, and she's been given other opportunities in other areas of career and stuff like that. And I think that maybe a little bit, and I've been a bit worried about this, maybe her focus has been slightly pulled away from football during that injury period, and maybe she's working to try and get that back again, as well as getting fully fit and feeling fully fit on the pitch. And I don't think she has been fully fit since she's come back. I think she's still. I don't think Beth was last season either. Now we're starting to see a new Beth again because she's now getting back into it. And I think Leah is going to take that time, because don't forget, Leah's injury was 4 months after Beth's, so she's still behind Beth in recovery time, and Beth's only just about back to her best now. So Leah's going to need time still, and we need to understand that she's not suddenly going to come back and be what she was pre her injury. So she needs time. I'm not worried about Leah particularly. I just feel as though she'd maybe had a few different interests going on outside of football over the last year or so, and maybe it's been a bit of a distraction, and she doesn't look at her best yet, but I think it will come. Greg says Lotta's pace worries me. Yeah, well, lack of pace, actually. It's not her pace, it's a lack of pace. That's the problem, isn't it? Absolutely right. Which is true. LG says Leah can be bullied because of her slight frame. The only player I've really noticed I have problems with has been Sam Kerr. Not so much from a bullying perspective, just that's the player that gives her the problems, isn't it? No one else really seems to give her major problems. I've never been concerned, other than when she plays against Sam Kerr. For some reason, it seems to get in her head more than anything. Like that England-Australia game before she got injured. Do you remember when she made that terrible mistake when Sam Kerr, which she was playing against? She never makes them mistakes usually, and I think Sam Kerr gets in her head. And the header that Sam Kerr got, a last-minute equaliser at the Emirates a couple of years ago. Leah didn't pick her up properly there, and it's in her head more than anything, I think. But yeah, I wouldn't say she gets bullied, but I think mentally sometimes certain players get in ahead, and definitely Sam Kerr does. Terry says, "Are we making Ange be a regular on the show?" I vote yes. Great debut. Apart from
that's very sweet.
LG says, "Get Ange on more, please." There you go. You see, Ange, you've been quite popular, which is
that's
good,
very sweet of you guys.
Greg says Leah's still the best central defender in the world just yet. Well, she's when she's fit. She's not fit. I agree. Terry says at last, me and LG agree on something. LG says the Wolfsburg error stands out when it comes to Lotta. It does, yeah. Bearing in mind that was 120th minute, and obviously mentally she was tired. She had a great game that night, actually, and I don't really want to blame her for that. It was a bad mistake, obviously, but yeah, that you're right. Those are the things that she does too often to be considered a top player. I agree with. But I mean, I agree with LG and with Terry. I mean, Ange, you're welcome to come on anytime.
Oh, bless you. Thank you. Yeah, I shall pop on now and again, but I'd equally be in the chat to promote you guys. But yeah, seriously, Andreas, we'll meet up at the Chelsea game. It'd be lovely.
Yeah. I'd
Good
love
to meet new friends.
Yeah.
Always, absolutely fantastic. That'd be great. So that'll be something to look forward to, won't it? So we look forward to that. But yeah, so that's been the Arsenal Women's Show. Andreas, great to have you on. Obviously, it's a big week for you, watching the three games for you this week. You're going to be going to, aren't you? Well, you'll be getting about. So lots to look forward to. Have you enjoyed being on the show again?
Yeah, of course. I always love to be on the show, and yeah, it's good to have fresh blood on this show, and we need youngsters in the show. So
yeah, I know one, the Dutch girl. She's young. I'm trying to lure her on.
When we find one, Andreas, we'll get a youngster on when we find one.
Yeah. No, but it was great to have you, and yeah, I love to be on the show, and I'm looking forward to the matches. Sunday, Emirates was Everton, and then, as you called it, the Andreas Derby on Wednesday in Munich. Yeah, what's better than this? We love these big matches, and we wanted to be back in Europe, so we are, and yeah, I can't wait to see all these upcoming matches.
Exciting times indeed. It is exciting times. It's great to be involved in it all, isn't it? And as well, have you enjoyed coming on the show for the first time?
Yes, I have. Thank you. Made me feel very welcome, and I love the guys in the chat. It's brilliant. Yeah, thank you.
No problem. As I say, you're welcome anytime. It's always good to like Andrea said. It's always nice to get new people involved in the show. I say you've been a regular in the chat anyway, haven't you? Which is good. Greg says, Andreas, this is football, not a dating show. Terry says, great show again tonight, Richard. Lordy, Andreas, and come on, you go, girls. Indeed. So, yeah, it has been a great show. So it's been great to have Ange with us tonight as well. I'm back on Saturday, of course, for the Premier League game, Arsenal-Southampton. So join me for that 2:45. Sunday, of course, Arsenal women at the Emirates against Everton. So join me for that one as well. That is kicking off at 2:00. So I'll be at 2:45 for that. Of course, next week, there's a lot of big stuff going on. The Bayern Munich game on Wednesday. Well, that is going to be good. We'll try and squeeze a women's show in as well at some point. And of course, next weekend, it is Chelsea. The big one, isn't it? Arsenal-Chelsea at the Emirates. That's going to be fantastic. So yeah, lots of great stuff to look forward to. Terry says, don't before you go, make sure you hit that like button. Indeed, make sure you do hit the like button before you go. Give us a like and do subscribe if you are new. Lots of great stuff to come, as we said, over the next couple of weeks. It's exciting times, isn't it? And it's great to be a part of it. It's great to have you guys involved as well. So thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to Andreas. Thanks to Ange. Thanks to everyone in the chat. And yeah, don't forget to look out for the game on Saturday, and then of course Sunday from the Emirates. Andreas will be doing his vlog as well, so look out for that, because that's going to be good as always. So look forward to that. Yeah, thanks you guys for watching. We'll see you very soon. Come on, you Gunners. Come on, you Gunners. See you later, guys. Take it easy. Thanks a lot.